Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to use cruise control. We're going to take a look at what cruise control is, how to operate the controls of the car, and then we'll go for a drive and I'll show you lots of examples of cruise control in action. So first of all, what is cruise control? Cruise control is a system that many cars have where simply the car can control the speed for you. So instead of your feet having to be on the pedals, you can take your feet off the pedals and the car will maintain the same speed for you. So let's have a look at the controls in this car on the steering wheel for cruise control. When I teach people to drive, a lot of people ask me, what are these controls here? The ones that say can, res, lim. Well, we're going to be taking a look at these ones around the top left of the steering wheel. We won't be using the lim, that's for another time, that's when you can limit the speed, but that won't come in today's video. The controls we're looking at are these other ones. So the main one for now is the top right one with the picture of the speedo and an arrow. That's the one you press to activate cruise control. You can then push this little lever either up or down and that will make the car cruise at the speed you are at. So when you're doing that, you can then hold the lever up and it will increase the speed, or you can hold the lever down to decrease the speed. It's really important to understand that decreasing the speed does not apply the brakes in this particular vehicle. Some manufacturers make it so that it can actually apply the brakes when you slow down, but this vehicle doesn't do that. So with cruise control, if you set it by pressing that button and then up or down, and it's doing a speed of 30. If you then go down the hill, the speed can increase above 30, so be aware of that. Also be aware that with cruise control in this particular vehicle, because there are different types of cruise control, which we'll talk about soon, if you set it at 30 miles an hour and then come off the pedals, it will quite happily just plough straight into a brick wall without stopping. Okay, it isn't intelligent, it doesn't monitor what's ahead of it, it just maintains the speed at what you tell it to. Now there is a system you can get called adaptive cruise control, where it's got like a sort of radar at the front of the car and it will keep you the same distance from the vehicle ahead, and that can actually slow down and sometimes brake for you. Now this car does not have adaptive cruise control. This is just standard everyday cruise control. And finally, just before we get going, the can button cancels it. Now the res resumes, so you've got several buttons. That one turns cruise control on, up or down, increases or lowers the speed, or sets it to begin with. Res resumes the speed, and can cancels it. Now it can sound confusing, but when you first start using this it can be difficult, so I do like to teach people this on driving lessons so they're ready to use it in their own vehicle. And I have checked, and yes, you can use this on driving tests in the UK at least. So what you can do is set the cruise control on, set the speed. You can then press cancel, and let's say you've had to slow down, some people are overtaking you, then you need to overtake a lorry. You can move out, press res, and it will resume the speed. So that's enough talking for now. Let's get driving and I'll show you this system in action. So we're going for a drive just in South Birmingham. We're going to go onto the motorway and I'll show you where this system is useful. Now this system only works at 20 miles an hour and above in this vehicle. I won't keep saying in this vehicle from now on, but be aware there are many different types of cruise control, different manufacturers making it work in different ways. But in this vehicle you have to be doing at least 20 before the cruise control will work. So we're going to go left here and then right to the roundabout, and we're on some roads where it's appropriate to do cruise control. So where should you not use cruise control? Where am I saying it's appropriate on some of these roads and not others? Well, cruise control should not really be used on very windy roads. If you're on a road where it's bending left and right, you don't want it on then, because it can suddenly pull the speed up as you're going around a sharp bend, which you don't want. So there are times you shouldn't use it, but my opinion is that cruise control is one of the best things ever in cars. I love cruise control, it's one of my favourite features, and I would not have a car without it now. So we're coming up to 50, so I'm going to activate the cruise control by pressing that button. I'll then press up, and you may be able to see, I hope you can on the screen, it says 37 next to 50. I'm holding that dial, that lever up. Notice the speed's increasing without me pressing the pedals. So it's going to go up to 50, 49, one more, 50. Okay, so now my feet are away from the pedals. Don't sit like this, don't have your feet fully away or up on the dashboard. Always have your feet around the pedals. I'm going to press CAN to knock the cruise control off and the speed falls, because I know that the speed limit comes down to 40 here. So I'm going to slow down, and I'm going to choose third because I know there's a steep hill. And you get a sign over there saying warning speed cameras. I really hope you can see the dials on the interior camera, because I've not used that camera before, and I've spent about half an hour setting up that angle before I began filming. I'm sorry if it's a little bit jumpy or jerky. I don't know, it's the first time I've filmed with that particular camera angle, but I'm doing my best to show you everything that's going on. So I'm going to do cruise control again. Now notice on the screen, I hope you can see, it says 50 with a line through it. I'm going to press this lever down, and it now sets it to the current speed 36, so I can push it up a few times to get it to the limit of 40, like that. Be aware though, there is another hill coming up here, so this would, if I left it on, would start to roll over the limit. So I'm going to take it off and let it roll down like that. Now this is where using cruise control can be awkward, because when you're used to it, it's great, and I can do this subconsciously, not even thinking about it. But if you're having to think about this, which one do I press, which one do I do, it can be difficult. If it does get stuck on, but you can't get stuck on, people will say, can it get stuck? As soon as you press the brake or the clutch, like now I brake, it instantly turns it off. With the slightest touch of the brake pedal, my car turns it off. So don't worry about that. It has been known for it to get stuck on. It can happen if you don't look after your vehicle. I have heard of times where people have had their cruise control stuck on. National now says 60 on this road, so I'll accelerate. I'll get to 5th, and I can put cruise control on. It's saying 44. I can hold this up, and it accelerates. Now, the last car I had used to accelerate at full speed when you use this. This one does it at about 75% of full speed. I press CAN, because I'm catching the lorry up ahead, and it rolls down. Now again, don't take your feet fully away from the pedals, don't have your feet back, or like I say, some people sit with them up on the dashboard. Yes, people are really that stupid. Always have your feet ready around the pedals. And I'm going to tell you a funny story in a bit about cruise control and how somebody got it badly wrong once. So we're now going to go on the M42. So I'm going to accelerate behind this white car. I get 4th. Now you could use cruise control now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stay in 4th for now because this car ahead's going a little bit slow. I'll signal to the right. It's quite busy, so this will be good practice. I'll put it to 5th because I'll be fine now. I'll put the cruise control on now, and I'm going to use this to accelerate like that. Knock the signal off. So you can do this. It's not the best use of it. You can do it. And I'm going to move out and overtake this red lorry. So what I'm going to do is, imagine I've got to slow down. I can press CAN, slow down a bit, move lanes, press res, and resume the speed I was doing. Not the greatest example there, but I'll show you another one soon. Get into 6th gear. Be aware that white car may want to come out. So I'm accelerating as I have my foot over the brake pedal. That's one advantage of cruise control. You can actually accelerate while still be ready to brake. So I get up to 70 miles an hour. And now the cruise control's on, and my feet aren't on the pedals. I'm keeping them around them, but they're not on the pedals. And there you go, the car is holding 70. And I can tell you this makes driving so simple. I'm going to move left because this car behind is getting a bit close. Even though I could have passed that truck, I'll press CAN, knock the cruise control off. I can let the speed come down, the lorry's way back behind me. And when I want, I can just knock it back onto cruise. And it cruises. So I could have stayed in the middle lane, but I'm doing this to show you all the different ways I can use cruise control. I'm going to put it up to 70 on the cruise, and then cancel it. So I'm slowing down behind the lorry, I wait for this vehicle to pass me, signal, move out, and press resume when I'm far enough back from that van. Notice I'm not accelerating, but the car's doing it for me, and it picks up to 70, or 71 it's saying. I should point out, as you probably know, I went down to 68 from 71, that's odd. This speedo is not 100% accurate. There's this thing in the UK where speedos are not actually showing what you're doing. So even if that says like 71, I'd only actually be doing about, if it says 70, I'm doing 64. So it's not actually that accurate. I'm going to come off on this junction of the motorway, actually, I'll exit here, and I'll go back around the other way, and I'll show you some more. So down to 50, let the car roll down. So the cruise control, as you can see, is still turned on. See where the lines, really hope you can see this on the camera, but if you can't, there is a little line through the speed that says 68. So it's still set to a speed of 68. So I'm going to roll up to here, go around this roundabout and go back the other way on the motorway. And I'll tell you this funny story about a time an American man got this badly wrong. This roundabout people often get badly wrong. It may look a bit odd the way I'm going to do it, but this is how you do it. I'm ready to brake for the lights. Nope, I'm okay. What happened is, there was someone in America who bought, this was years and years ago in the 90s, I think, 1990s, he bought a camper van and he didn't really know what cruise control was. So he took it on the motorway, or what I call a highway, whatever, and he just put cruise control on and he thought that it was fully automatic. So he got up out of his driver's seat and went and had a lie down in the back in his camper van. The vehicle, of course, crashed, and he actually sued the manufacturer for not making it clear that cruise control wasn't fully automatic, and he actually won a huge amount of money. And all manufacturers now make it clear in the car's manual that cruise control does not fully control the vehicle. So I've not cruise control on there. I could have left that at 68, but I'm just going to wait for this white van to pass, and then I shall move out. So this van is going to pass me, and then I can move out and speed up. So I can apply cruise control again now, and it's set to now 64, so it cruises at 64. I could overtake the car ahead again, not bothered about doing that. This is not so much a driving lesson video, it's more about cruise control. So you can slow down a little. I would not slow down using this very often because your brake lights don't come on when you slow down with this. So if it's suitable to do that, great. But it isn't always suitable when it's busy and there's lots of cars around you. You may want to apply your brake to show your brake lights. So the car cruises on its own, and that's all it does, it just cruises. And this is so brilliant because it takes away so much of the stress and strain from driving. I've driven like 200 miles plus on a motorway with cruise control, and when you get out the other end, you don't even know you've done it. It's brilliant. It saves you so much fatigue on your legs. When I used to drive quite long journeys, and I used to get out at the end, my ankles were aching and my legs were aching and you feel stiff. Well, not with cruise control. It's brilliant. You just feel so relaxed and calm, and I now can press can, I can slow down a bit. I'll go a bit further on this road. I might come off here, I might go a bit further on. I'm not really going anywhere in particular. You notice I'm checking my blind spots when I move. Essential for motorway driving. Don't be turning your head around for too long, but if you don't look, you can have a big surprise when there's a vehicle next to you. Like that white car now is in my blind spot. I knew he was there, but he was in my blind spot. And they're not driving well, they're cutting all over the place. That was way too early to be coming back in front of me. So anyway, I think they're going to exit there. Yep. Are they coming off here? Yep. Very bad planning, poor planning. Because he was in the left lane further back, and he moved out, went around all these and come back in. Anyway, I did something similar earlier, but the difference was I didn't cut people off. So I'm going a bit further on. So I'm going to go back up to 70, and I'm uphill now. So cruise control set to 70. And there you go, it just cruises. So you need to be aware that it can malfunction. I haven't had this happen to me, but I have heard of times when it's gone wrong and it's got stuck on 70 or whatever, or people have said, this is a common one and I have had this happen to me, it's nasty. You come off the motorway and this stays set to 70, and I'm going to move to, I'm just going to stay back a bit here. I can't really move to the right lane because the black car is going to pass me, but that lorry wants to come out, so I'll let the black car through and then I'll get over to this lane and apply the cruise control, pulls me back up to 70. So what was I saying? Yeah, there are times you can be doing 70 like this, you come off the motorway and then you go to a 30 zone and you put the cruise control on, meaning to cruise at 30, and it starts pulling up to 70, and that is nasty. You have to be careful with that. When you come off, be sure you knock this up all down to avoid that problem. It's quite busy actually today around here. I'm just going to go down to the next junction and then it's going to come off there and come back up. I can't move out to the right because there are vehicles passing me, so I'm just keeping a good gap to the car ahead. I'm aware there's a big truck behind, but this one ahead's going fairly quickly, so they'll be back in soon, and I can press resume as soon as that Thornton's lorry moves left. I'll keep the speed up. And I press res and it resumes the speed. You have to be aware when you do this, don't speed up to annoy the people in the right, because if you speed right at 70 and someone's about to pass you, they can think they've passed you and then turn into you. So be careful when you accelerate in the middle lane. You do fail the driving test for doing that. If you accelerate too hard in this lane when someone is passing you and it's seen as being aggressive and blocking that vehicle from coming back in, then you do fail the test for that, and I know because I've had people do it. So this line might move over, so I'm ready to move just in case. My hand's on the signal, yep. So I was ready for that before he did it. This white car behind is going way too fast, but I didn't slow them down, they slowed themselves down. If people speed, they slow themselves down. I'm doing 70 and she's just getting way too close. That is stupid driving from this woman in the white car. If I'd have braked then, she'd have gone straight through me, and now she's going 80 odd down the road. Now I know I said earlier about this speedo doesn't fully match what you're doing. You must go by the speedo. Some people drive like 80 and say, oh well, I know the speedo is a bit off, so I'm doing 80. They're still in the right lane now, look, for no reason. They're in the far right lane for no reason at all. Now it's terrible driving. You don't just stay in the right lane and go right behind people being aggressive. And she's still in the right lane now, and there's no reason she could be back in the middle or even the left, and she's still in the far right lane. Don't hog the right lane, always keep as far left as you can at all times. So I'll put the cruise back on. I'm going to come off by Bromsgrove, half a mile away, and that's it, that's cruise control. I'm going to come off from this junction here. So yeah, it's not meant to be a driving lesson video as such, but what I was saying about there, if I know I'm coming off here, don't overtake people now, then come off. It's pointless when you know you're this close. That white car before, I think it was an Audi, was sort of going out then in last second. If you know you're coming off, then you should prepare it well ahead. If you decide to come off now, it's fine, as long as you're in that lane already and there's no one who's going to be inconvenienced by you. But any sudden movements are bad. So it's back to 30 now. So I'm braking, clutch. This cruise control, as you see, is knocked off, but it's still set to 70. I'll go to 1 and creep a little, because these lights could change here because the cars coming from the right stopped. So that showed me these were very likely to change. So I'll get to 2nd. This is a bit of a weird roundabout, not too bad, but it's a bit strange. You can go through an amber light like that, because if I stopped, I would have had, this one I won't, because I'm going to have to stop here. If I'd have braked on that amber, I would have been doing an emergency stop. Another common thing people fail driving test for is when it goes amber, yes, you should stop if it's safe to do so. But I've had times where people are like here doing 30 miles an hour and the lights go amber and they slam the brake on and screech to a halt. That's putting you in more danger than if you just carry on. So this video is not about traffic lights as such, but just giving you a few tips on what's going on. I'm going to go back on the M4 to do north, and I'll show you this thing about using the cruise control to speed up. So off we go. Well, I said this one's a bit odd, the lanes can be a bit odd. It's this far right lane for M42 North. So I'm going to stay in this one and then you move over in a moment. I'll go to 1, but I'll stop and handbrake. I'm not sure how long these lights are going to be red for. There's no vehicle on my left, that van stopped, so they should be changing off the change. No one on my left, so I can leave my right signal on. So I move left because I'm not changing lanes, I'm just merging in. No signal left to confirm, but I don't have to. Again, this is not about signals and roundabouts, but of a different way you can do that. So I accelerate quite hard in 4th, block change to 6th, and then I can press resume, but that DHL lorry is going to make me slow down, so I press can, because I don't want to speed up and pass them on their left. I slow down a little, check, join, 2 different moves, check, join again, and then press res to resume. And that's what you do. So what you shouldn't do is just move out and go straight to the far right lane immediately, what you call swooping. Don't swoop from the far left to the far right. This car ahead's only doing about 60 odd. So they're going a little bit slower. Now he's come back in, so I'll press res. Again, being careful not to outrun these, and that car's coming in way too close. That car did not allow enough room ahead of me before he went in. One of the problems of driving this car is it's got an L plate on the back for learners, and the problem is if you drive with L plates on, everyone just assumes you're a learner. They never think you might not be a learner. And yes, you can drive this car with L plates on because it's a driving school car, because you're not supposed to drive with L plates on unless it's a driving school car, but this is a driving school car with dual controls and it's leased from a driving school hire company. But when people see an L plate, they often just think, oh, learner, they're going too slow, or go around them. They never actually think you might actually be doing the speed limit, or you might be an advanced driver driving. But anyway, back to the cruise control. That's really all you need to know. The thing about the limb, I should show you briefly now. Limb is different. If you press limb and then press up, it just means that you can't go over the speed limit. So this police van's passing now. As I mentioned the speed limit, I think is that the police speed camera van. No, it looks like a speed camera van. So if I press the gas down now, you won't go over the limit offsets of 63. That's what that is, the limb. It's similar to cruise control, but it means you can just have your foot down and you don't have to worry about going over the limit to a certain degree because it stops you from going over the limit. But again, if you put the gas right to the floor, it overrides that and you can then be speeding. It's flashing because I've set it at 63, but I'll turn that off. That's for another video maybe, but that's really all there is to say about that. That's the speed limiter. So I'm going to stay in this lane because I'm coming off fairly soon, and that's all you need to know about cruise control. So I hope you found that useful, and thanks for watching. Check out my other videos, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.